Good morning, everybody. A nice and early trip this morning to Tyneham Dorset. The reason I'm here is because I think it was early this year when a very good friend of mine, Elaine, was delving into my DNA, and there was an issue with a family that had turned up on there that were right up the top, called the Stickland family. And when I looked at the results ages ago, I couldn't fathom out who they were, and I'd sent some emails, etc., and still couldn't figure it out. And Elaine is well into DNA history, and she's more like a detective. Found out a link with the Stickland family, hence the reason I'm down here. There were 5 generations, at least 5 generations, that come from Tyneham. So I'm here today to have a good look round, and I know I can't get to their house because I know it's out of bounds, but here we are anyway at the beginning of the trip. I'm nice and early, nobody about, so I've got to wait a little while before they open the gate, so I'll get back to you in a minute. So through the research that Elaine done for me, she basically went back to my great-grandparents and to my great-grandmother Julia, who turns out that she had a relationship with Herbert Stickland, and with the result that my grandfather was born, and then obviously my dad, and then me. So but like I say, it's the family surname really shouldn't be what it is now. It should be really Stickland if they'd have married, whatever. But that's the story, and that's how it happened. Like I say, he was away. William was away in the army, and Herbert wasn't. So he was on shore leave, I think, from the navy. So fascinating stuff. So anyway, here we are. We're going down now towards Tyneham. Absolutely beautiful morning. Like I say, obviously I'm doing the voiceover later, so I know I'm going to have this village to myself for nearly an hour, which is fantastic. So yeah, look forward to seeing you down the bottom. So here we are, just entering the village now. You'll have the church on the right and the main row of houses and all that. Gonna go around to the car park just up here on the left, so any new visitors come down here, it's just up here, ever so easy to find. Over to the distance to the right there is Wheelbarrow Bay. We'll have a walk down there later. Yep, so here we are. So this is basically the centre of Tyneham. You've got the cottages to my left, or what they call the row, and in the distance there you can see St Mary's Church. The properties in Tyneham are scattered all over the place, including the main house. And many of the other cottages were further, just slightly further afield, closer to the sea, because obviously not everybody in Tyneham worked on the land. Many, like my ancestors, were fishermen and boat builders, so they were further over, but all within the parish of Tyneham. So in December of 1943, the village was evacuated by order of the government so that they could take it over and use it for training, the eventual D-Day landings in France. Unfortunately, the residents, which were promised that they could return, were never allowed back to their village, and hence it's basically turned into a ghost village now, which is very eerie when you go around. But yeah, there's a lot of history here, and a lot of sadness obviously for the people that weren't allowed to return back, but it has frozen it in time. So I'm going to briefly take you through all the little cottages here, what's left of them. Obviously there's the old telephone box. That's not the original one. If you can freeze that, you can see history of that telephone box. Yeah, it's well, it's quite funny because I'm of a certain age. When you look in there, I can remember the old A and B phones. So A to answer and B to get your money back. So yeah, nice to see they got the old phone there. So I'll let you walk with me and discover these few cottages, and then we'll go on to the church. This is St Mary's Church in Tyneham. Its origins go way back to the 13th century. It's where quite a lot of the Stickland family are buried, although a lot of the gravestones in here, unfortunately, you can't read. This is William Lush Stickland's final resting place. He was the son of my fourth great grandfather, William Stickland. Got a story to tell about him, and so I'll get to that later in the video. Right, just briefly going to go into the old schoolhouse now and do a quick look around there. Unfortunately, some people come in after me, which spoiled the video, but never mind. That's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
As I said earlier, a lot of the properties around Tyneham are scattered all over the place. So very similar to this one. Many in different states of ruin, many are fenced off for health and safety reasons. Give you a quick look at some of the ones that I got some videos of. Right, we're just going to walk down to Wallbarrow Bay now, and obviously along this route you'll see a few of the ruins of the houses. This one here, for instance, which is getting very close to Wallbarrow Bay, and a few more on the way. And we'll make our way down to Wallbarrow Bay. Please excuse the wind noise. Forgot me microphone muffler. This is Wallbarrow Bay with views over towards Weymouth Bay and the Isle of Portland. So we'll make our way down in a minute. This is Pondfield Cove. Obviously the tank traps there for World War II. So a nice little isolated cove there. As we walk through Tyneham Farm, I'll give you a brief history on some of the Sticklands. I was talking earlier on about William Lush Stickland, who was buried in the church, and you saw his grave. He was a son of my great-great-great-great-grandfather, William Stickland. Both were fishermen and boat builders. William Lush Stickland, very interesting story, because he was not only a fisherman, but like many there as well, he was involved in the smuggling trade. And obviously was very good on a boat, because he was chosen to be the first coxswain of the Mary Heap when the lifeboat station was established at Kimmeridge Bay, which is just over there on the left hand side over the hill. On the 8th of December 1872, William Lush and his crew were sent out to try and rescue 17 German men from the German ship Stralsund, which had become stuck on the Kimmeridge ledges. So William and his crew were successful, thankfully, in rescuing 17 men off the German ship Stralsund. He was awarded extra gratuity by the Lifeboat Institution, which is obviously money, not medals or whatever, and hopefully his crew got some as well. You can only hope. But no, it was quite an amazing thing at the time, and it hit the press and whatever many years ago. So that's one of the little stories. The other thing regarding William Lush Stickland, and along with his brother, I think it was Thomas Stickland, in 1840, they were caught smuggling, and they both received 6 months jail sentences at Dorchester in Dorset, where they served their sentence. And when they were released, they were described as orderly, which is a strange thing to say. I suppose if they were disorderly, they would have been taken back in again. But there you go, they were described as orderly. So I'm just hoping that if they did carry it on, they never got caught again. I can't find any information on that. So, but like I say, William went on to better things in a way, I suppose, really, to become the coxswain of the Merry Heap. He was well respected within the village and surrounding areas. So yeah, he done himself proud. Yeah, as I said earlier, regarding 5 generations to the Stickland family that were associated with Tyneham, it does go further back than that, but I'm not 100% sure from what I found out. But also, you've got to remember that they would have, many of them wed within the village from local girls. So it's not just the Stickland family I'm associated with, it's other families as well within the village. So it's a lot more work to do. Yeah, it's quite mind bending sometimes when you're going through all the stuff. Like I say, with the help of Elaine, to get me this far, it's been quite something. Yeah, the main reason I started the DNA journey was basically my brother's first son, Matthew, asked if I wouldn't mind doing a DNA test, just really to get some more information on the family. Well, cut story short, it turned out that he actually wasn't my nephew at all. He then contacted his mother and asked a few questions, and basically she come back and remembered another guy about the same time as my brother. They weren't in a proper relationship, by the way. And then the information he had on his DNA site matched all the information that his mum gave him. So it's very accurate. It's incredible, really. Yeah, so that started my DNA sort of journey, really, I suppose. And it went on from there. So prior to doing a DNA test on Ancestry, there had been a little bit of work done on my Ancestry tree by a friend of mine called Pamela, and she'd done a bit of digging and whatever. And of course, obviously, once you take a DNA test, the information available to you becomes even greater. So it was just a huge amount of information coming my way. So yeah, it just gives you a massive insight into where you come from. The only thing I would say, I'm now on 3 DNA sites, is that if ever you do one and it gives you your countries you come from previously, etc., regions and all that, that isn't accurate. It's not accurate at all, because when you really get down to the nitty gritty of the real stuff, you know, your DNA relatives, where they come from, and you do it all through Ancestry or whichever way you do it, you'll find that most of that's wrong. I really do believe that that's more of a sales gimmick, especially for Americans, Canadians, Australians, whatever, because they're sort of quite hot on that because they like that sort of stuff. But when you're a European, it's not that important. But like I say, it's you know, you can take it or leave it with that, really. But your results, all I can say is the results that I've got back are very accurate from the people that I know I'm related to. So that's one good thing about it. That gives you a good stable foundation to start your search for your family history. So it's invaluable, really, to be honest. But like I say, be careful what you might find out, because you never know. So it's I didn't expect my story to be similar to Matthew's, my nephew, who's not my nephew. But it's led me on to this. You know, like I say, most of my family are West Country rooted, so there's a lot more work to do. and also and it goes further afield from that, you know, way further back. But it's, yeah, it's a bit of a sort of it's a bit of a journey. I'm quite enjoying it. Sometimes it can be all too consuming, but there you go. But it's good fun at the end of the day. So if you're interested in Tyneham and Wallbarrow and surrounding areas, one of the great resources I found is the Tyneham and Wallbarrow website. Fantastic information on there. Gives you loads of information on families, all the histories, etc., etc. So if you're trying to research your family tree down there, or you're just interested, it's well worth a look at. Like I say, in the I'll put the website up in a minute, and you can take it from there. This part of the farm just round the back, very interesting stuff. Obviously you've got all sorts of farm implements. Yeah, you've got everything around here, from building materials to shells, presumably shells that they used in World War One or World War Two, especially World War Two, because it was a training facility for the armies before they went over to France on the D-Day. And yeah, all sorts of things. There's an old heater and all that sort of stuff, grinding wheel for sharpening knives, etc., etc. There's loads of stuff there. Look at it. No, really interesting. Amazing what they left behind. So thanks for watching. Hope you found it interesting, and if there are any Sticklands out there or associated with the Stickland family, want to get in touch, give us a shout. Thank you all very much for watching. Please like and subscribe.